Welcome to the first YuZoom of 2022. Just some housekeeping logistics. You will all be muted. We will have some time at the end to ask questions where you can unmute yourself. We'll also be monitoring the chat to try and answer questions as they come up. But if you don't get your question answered while we're kind of running through the presentation, please feel free to unmute at the end so we can get that responded to. And with that, I will hand it off to Dr. Dotson.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to see you. And to those of you who have been on break, welcome back. It's great to see you all. I want to just jump in because we've got a really long agenda today with some specific updates for January in an effort to try to continue to communicate, because we certainly do have a lot going on. For those of you who were not able to join us, there was a COVID protocols professional development session that occurred today. It was recorded. It was an opportunity to better understand the YCCD COVID vaccine proof or testing policy, its implementation, and some of the additional measures that we're continuing to take to create a safe environment for all of us to continue to empower students in their journey. We continue to offer on-site testing. In fact, we're working to expand those hours with the contractor. We've submitted a proposal to expand those, but this testing is free. It's open to employees and students as well as the public. We continue to work to have masks, hand sanitizer, and signage on campus for the indoor mask mandate, as well as COVID contact tracing. Please work with your administrator if you think there's an additional location or additional supplies needed in your area. We're doing some of that this week, so please be patient as we make sure all of those supplies and signs get delivered, but do work with your administrator to make sure that they're aware there are some places that we need to fill before classes start, certainly if we've not already. We're also awaiting copies of the COVID protocols cards that were mentioned today. Those were created to share with students who are not in compliance with the district's COVID vaccine or proof policy. Once we receive them, we're going to distribute them as broadly as we possibly can. We are also operating a comprehensive contact tracing process. So if you've not met our Yuba College contact tracer, either from her previous time here at Yuba or as a part of this process, Barbara Sluter is helping us whenever we have instances where there's a COVID positive case on campus. We do continue to work with Yuba Sutter Public Health to track our cases and provide really clear quarantine guidance that does shift and change. In fact, it just changed on Friday, and they are good partners in our efforts to try and track those cases and make sure that we have the most up-to-date quarantine guidance. And we do continue to respond to our weekly updates with public health officials locally as well. You may have also seen that I am continuing to share resources whenever possible, including the availability of free at-home tests. And we are continuing, when possible, to offer vaccination opportunities on campus when we have enough interest. And I certainly do continue to encourage you to get vaccinated. This semester also starts the district's efforts to strategically plan for a response to the FCMAT report and to produce a set of recommended strategies and initiatives. The effort's really designed to address some of our structural issues through a reallocation of resources. Our goal is to be able to ensure we can continue to attract and serve students and meet our community's needs. As our enrollment does continue to decline and our world changes with the steep increase in online offerings, we know we need to change a bit to meet our students' needs. To plan for this effort, we get to support the district's efforts by submitting a set of recommendations specifically from Yuba College, and that will be included both in the DC3 sub-working groups efforts as well as their report to determine which ideas or efforts are going to be prioritized and presented for consideration to the chancellor and the board. We have a really tight timeline to do this. Recommendations from Yuba College are due to that working group on or before February 15th. As you might recall, right before the break, we sent out an initial survey that matched the survey sent to both Woodland Community College and the district office, and it provided some initial feedback on the FCMAT report. It really focused on prioritizing the recommendations. A second survey will be distributed today to gather some additional ideas. This survey, because of the tight timeline, is asking really for your ideas to meet the FCMAT recommendations specifically. It could be ideas for ways to grow FTES, things like increasing dual enrollment or expanding online programs. Could also be ways to modernize our infrastructure, whether that's IT or facilities. For example, implementing things like a CRM, a customer relationship management tool, or prioritizing bond funding in certain facilities or areas. In addition to the survey, we're going to provide a conversation opportunity. If you don't like to respond to the surveys, we're going to address the same topics in 2 optional meetings where you can provide some of those ideas for consideration and FCMAT response. At those meetings, I'll do similar to what I'm doing today, review the process, and then open the Zoom floor for suggestions on ways that we can respond to the FCMAT. All of these ideas will be reviewed by the Yuba College administrative team, and a prioritized list will be submitted to the DC3 working group in addition to Woodland's recommendations for their consideration in the comprehensive report. A DC3 working group, I believe, met for the first time today, was created by the chancellor and includes representatives from both colleges. They're going to review and synthesize both colleges' recommendations and create a district-wide strategy with prioritized initiatives for FCMAT response. This is our chance to have a voice in the planning process, and I do hope that you'll take some time to respond to the survey or join me in those meetings. It's our opportunity to ensure that the district's priorities will have our college's perspective included. The last update I have for today is that we are continuing to work through our college EMP process. The steering committee did meet with Moss in December before the break, and we'll continue to work with them as they transition into our on-campus community input. So please be on the lookout for those opportunities in the coming weeks. With that, I'm going to hand it over to our interim vice president for instruction, Jeremy Brown.
Thank you. So yes, welcome everyone to spring 2022. I am happy to be serving in this position in the interim role, and look forward to working with all of you as we move forward. I am going to be setting up some office hours because I want to provide the opportunity if anyone would like to speak with me, share anything, just talk through kind of what's been going on in their areas as I'm getting up to speed on everything in instruction, and I'm working closely with our deans of instruction and everyone, all of the staff in instruction, to hear from them, but want to open that up to faculty, to student services. My office hours will be shared. I'll be sending out an invite soon. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll have 2 that are in person and 2 that are via Zoom, so look out for those. For spring 2022, we have 689 sections scheduled. 62% of those are face-to-face. We also have 34% that are asynchronous and 4% that will be synchronous. Class section build out for the summer and fall will begin in February. We've already been working on the schedule. All of you should have been involved in that process, but we will be working to build out in colleague those sections so that we can get the schedule out and printed as soon as possible. That will begin in February. Right now, there are about 150 sections in summer and 650 sections in the spring, or in the fall, sorry. But those will be built out soon. Spring 2023 scheduling development also begins in February with your deans and directors, working directly with the faculty. That is the first stage of the scheduling process. So look for that to come soon. And for arts and education, right now we are working on updating the schedule. WAFA is working remotely, and we have Amanda Smith to support. For the time being, probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks, if you want to also include me, if you have questions or anything about the schedule for arts and education, please do so because Wafa is sick at the moment, so she isn't responding as quickly. But as we work through that, I am working to help with that situation. I am handing it over to Pete now.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Those of you who've been out for that. The Applied Academics Division is alive and well and look forward to having a great semester at this time. With that in mind, then I'd like to introduce Dr. Tony Christofferson, who will give us an update on the Allied Health Department.
Yes, so we had this past semester an adjunct clinical coordinator faculty, Jackie Bumonglag, and she will actually be joining us this semester as well as the long-term temp in that particular department. However, we also were approved to move forward with a full-time faculty recruitment for that particular department and for that particular position. So that is underway. From a nursing perspective, many of you knew Roxanne Snyder. She retired this past December. And so we are in the final stages of moving forward with a nursing faculty with a specialty in mental health nursing that we are still in the process of getting onboarded for the start of the semester next week. But in addition to that, again, we have been approved for a full-time faculty in that regard as well. And again, that's a real specialty faculty that we're looking for, someone who has experience in education in the area of mental health nursing. So the search for that particular full-time faculty position is also underway. So Pete, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Christofferson. It is now my privilege to give you an update on the CTE programs within that department. Our agriculture department then will be fully online in reference to our classes this spring. Business is mostly online. I believe we have 2 classes that are face-to-face. They're on the schedule at this time, although the others remain online with that. And then as far as our auto tech, culinary, drafting, manufacturing, welding, and I would add vet tech programs and classes, they are all face-to-face as well too, as we welcome the students back on campus, especially with those CTE hands-on programs that are there. And that is the report for the CTE department. I believe on the next slide, we have kinesiology, health, and athletics department. I'd like to introduce Athletic Director Eric Burns at this time to give us an update on his department.
Hello, everybody. Actually, I'm just going to do a quick update on our class offerings currently. I've unfortunately had to cancel several sections of face-to-face classes, activity classes, but we still have a online walking class. I've got 2 sections of yoga classes that'll be going on this semester, one face-to-face and one online. Sections of weight training, which will both be face-to-face. Badminton will be face-to-face. Everybody on this Zoom, I'm sure, wants to play some badminton this summer. We got room for you. And I think on the slide, I also have volleyball, but unfortunately, I did have to cancel that class. I do have 2 sections of health that are face-to-face, but everything else will be online with plenty of seats available. So I'll do an athletics update a little bit further into the presentation. So from there, I'll hand it off to Director Vasusi.
All right, it's hard to top badminton, but here goes. Public safety department is doing well. We have a lot of our academies started about a week ago. We have 24 students in our police academy, 38 in our fire academy. We have a probation academy, which is actually going to be a hybrid academy. And we're excited about that, first in the state, to be able to provide a hybrid. So it'll be, all the lecture will be online, and then the defensive tactics will be face-to-face the last week. We'll be doing a fully online supervisor core academy for our standards and training for corrections supervisors, newly appointed supervisors, again, first in the state to do that. So really excited about the opportunities to do that. And largely online, we have 2 face-to-face semester classes, but all of our other classes are doing well and filling quite nicely. We have a vacancy because of longtime Professor Ron Turner's retirement. So we're looking to fill that position and also do some stuff with posts for us. We have some post mandates as far as staffing goes. And I'll turn it back over to Dr. Pete.
Well, I'd like to thank you at this time. And as you can see, my division is full of individuals that are professionals, and they like to deal with each other in a professional manner. So I appreciate that for my directors with that. It is now my esteemed pleasure to introduce you Dr. Michael Bagley, who is the Dean of STEM and Social Sciences Division. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pete. Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. I know it's crazy times right now and it's hard to beat badminton. I have to agree with you, Brian, but great to see you. I'm actually really excited about 2022. Couple big reasons why I'm thrilled. I want to welcome a couple new family members to Yuba College. We have a new admin 2, Miss Elizabeth Keene. I stole her from Social Services in Butte County. She's got community college experience at Butte College and just hit the ground running, super talented. So she's implemented some new things in the office right now. If you want to come visit me in the 800 building and get away, including a lollipop tree and some other good snacks to try to greet people. Her motto is no wrong door. So we're just looking to support students, kind of have a caring campus. And Elizabeth, I'm not sure if you're there. I think she's on my screen of the match. You want to like say hello?
I'm here. Hi.
Well, make sure to come by and visit Elizabeth. We also have a new psychology faculty member who is a Yuba College alum. I'd like to see if Paige Snellgrove is online right now. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right, Paige. Yeah, Paige got to see your office today for the first time. So make sure you welcome Paige. Really great to have you, Paige, starting this year. That's another reason to be excited for 2022. And last but not least, a new chemistry lab tech position. Mr. Espetia Gerardo, affectionately known as AJ, is starting up. Dr. O is very pleased about this, but again, someone's helping students out with remote kits, as well as doing a lot of face-to-face classes in chemistry. STEM and Social Sciences Division. We're doing a lot of every discipline pretty much is going to have face-to-face classes this semester, as well as, online. But I'm really proud of all the work that people are doing to make sure we do face-to-face this semester per the district's request student demand. We also have some searches. So I'm planting a seed for those people who want to volunteer with the Academic Senate. 2 new full-time faculty searches, one for ethnic studies and one for watershed management, natural resources. And so that's gonna be exciting. It's gonna search this semester. So let me know, reach out. And I was also I'm really pleased. I really think, you look at our survey we did with our community for classes people wanted, and hybrid courses was the survey's top choice, to have a hybrid, to see how we end up going, what becomes our new normal. We're offering a lot of hybrid classes this division with some healthy enrollments, and I look forward to seeing how that goes. But I wish everyone a great semester, and it's good to be back. And I need to introduce the incredible Chris Sanchez.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. I wanted to talk about counseling services. We are here to help our students, and we can meet with students face-to-face, telephone, or online via Zoom. This semester, we did extend our services to Saturdays, and we were able to see a lot of students online. And so we will continue to do that as we prepare to register for the summer and fall. We'll be opening up some Saturday appointments. And students can schedule their appointments by telephone, or they can do it themselves on eSARS, which is on the website, or they can visit our counseling virtual office and we will assist them. This week, we did begin calling students to remind them those students that had a face-to-face appointment to remind them that they either needed to upload their vaccine record or they needed to test positive. So when they came in on Monday, we wanted to make sure that they had plenty of time to get that taken care of, because we certainly want to provide assistance to those students. We have made some changes in counseling so that we are available for our drop-in students, so we don't have long lines. We are here to help. The counseling department has had some counselors that are out, so we are trying to move things around so that our students are not affected in that manner. But welcome and come back to counseling. Please send all of your students to counseling services. We are here to help them. And I'll turn over the time to Marcy Lang from DSPS.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to report on our fundraiser. Our DSPS Student Scholarship Fund was very successful. Thanks to all of you. We just want to express our appreciation for your support of our Yuba College students with disabilities. Also, this is the time of year when we make our announcement to faculty to please remind you in the first meetings of your classes, if you could please remind students to contact the DSPS office if they need disability-related accommodations or services for the semester. Oftentimes, you know, in the confusion of the start of a semester, they forget this step is necessary. I also want to say that there is no deadline on the time that students can apply for services, but it's to their advantage to sign up early so that say, for example, they need a test accommodation and they don't realize that they haven't submitted their application for that, you know, until a day or two before the test, because oftentimes it's very difficult, as you know, to get that implemented in time. But there is no deadline again. So please encourage your students to reach out to us. We appreciate your support so much. We thank you for all the extra time and effort that you expend on behalf of our students. And we look forward to working with you again this semester. And now I will turn it over to Martine in financial aid.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm here with a request for your assistance to help us reach out to our students. So the first bullet point that we have is the 2021-2022 FAFSA or California Dream Act applications are still open for students who have not applied. Currently, the financial aid department is working in a project in which we identify all the students enrolled for this coming spring semester who has balance due for tuition. And that's telling us that those students have not applied for the 21-22 either FAFSA or the Dream Act application. So we want to ask you that if you can please notify your students that if they haven't completed it, they're still on time to get it in so that we can get the application process. Hopefully we can get the California College Promise Grant, or what we used to know as the bulk fee waiver, approved. And that way tuition will be covered. Also, we would like to ask for your assistance to remind students that the 2022-2023 FAFSA and Dream Act applications are open for renewal. And the deadline is March 2nd for Cal Grant eligibility. The reason why we're emphasizing for students to go ahead and complete the FAFSA or Dream Act by the March 2nd deadline is for this 21-22 academic year, the state has changed the eligibility for the Cal Grant. In the past, the students who were community college students and they apply, they were always placed in a competitive process to see if they were eligible to receive a Cal Grant. So not everyone was able to get the Cal Grant, but because of the change in regulations, community college students became entitled to a Cal Grant, but they had to meet those deadlines. So the March 2nd deadline is very, very important. The third bullet here is the 2022 spring financial aid payment schedule is available, and we will look at the payment schedule in the next slide. So that way it will give you an idea when payments will go out to our students. The last bullet, I know that the Sonia Horn, our registrar, will be sending emails out to faculty in relation to drop-in students for no show, on classes for census date clearance. But I want to talk to you about in this requirement as it relates to financial aid. Okay, so what happened is at the conclusion of every semester, financial aid has to evaluate students who have either dropped or failed classes to determine if they owe money back to, in this case, the institution or to the Department of Education. This last fall, when we ran the report, there were a few students who received an F, an FW, which is an F because the student has ceased attending. The withdrawal date that was placed for these students was on the first week of classes. So this means that the faculty kept that student for the entire semester in the roster. And we were disbursing financial aid for these students for classes that they were not eligible to receive financial aid. Well, through the evaluation that we performed, these students were badly impacted. Now they owe over $1,000 back. A portion is owed to the institution, but the majority of the money is owed back to the Department of Education. These students, when they start the spring semester, they're not going to be eligible until they actually clear or pay the balance back to the Department of Ed. So I will encourage faculty to make sure to pay attention to these deadlines and drop those students so that way we do not disperse aid that they're not entitled. And at the end, they get more impacted by owing large amount of money to the Department of Education. Okay. And if we go to the next slide, please. So this is the payment schedule. Our first payment is scheduled to go out on January 28th. Then we have 2 additional payments within the next week until February 11th. And then we will have 2 additional payments on February 25th and March 11th. That's a 2-week period between payments. And then on March 25th, we will have the second disbursement for all eligible students. And then in addition to that, we have added additional payments throughout the semester for those students who complete files late. We can still get them paid throughout the semester. A few things that are important to remember on the payment schedule. Here you can see it says the last day financial aid office will process payment adjustments is going to be March 31st. What this means is any student who adds classes as of March 31st, we will count those classes for financial aid eligibility. Any classes added after that date, we will not count them towards financial aid eligibility. And the last point will be that the students who drop classes on or after April 10th will not be required to repay Pell Grant funds. So if students are in need to drop classes due to personal circumstances, the April 10th will be the date that they can drop to avoid having to pay any money back. And this is the end of my section here presenting about financial aid. So now I want to introduce Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer, Director of Enrollment Services. This is my first YuZoom, so I'm happy to be here. Enrollment Services is made up of admissions and records, outreach and recruitment, and Sutter County Center. I have our contact information here. We do have staff at both locations, and we also have a Zoom room that is available during our office hours. I also would like to mention that we are having an open house at the Marysville campus this Saturday from 9 to 1. We are going to have admissions and records staff. There will be one counselor and financial aid as well. So we'll be able to help new students, and also some of, we've seen at our most recent open houses that some returning students who need assistance getting ready for the next semester have been coming in. So we will be available on campus in front of the admissions and records area in building 100B for from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you know of any students who our prospective students who are interested in starting and want to get in before the semester starts next week, please let them know that they can stop by anytime between 9 and 1, and there'll be staff there available to help them. And now I'm going to hand it off to Sylvia.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So I'm excited to let you guys know we are accepting new students as of right now for EOPS. All they need to do is scan the little QR code. It'll take them straight to the application. They fill it out and they get us to us. So that's exciting. That is a fast and easy process to do. We're also going to start doing our lending library starting Thursday, Friday. We're also going to be doing it on Saturday to accommodate the students that are not able to come in on Thursday and Friday. So we'll be doing it on Saturday as well. We also are doing 3 orientations for the new and continuing students regarding EOPS. And we're also going to be doing one on the 29th on a Saturday, also to accommodate the students that are not able to attend during the days if they're working. So we have done it in the past and we had a great turnout on Saturdays. So we're going to continue with that. We're always in our EOPS Zoom. You guys can come and join us anytime, our students to ask questions. Also, if any faculty wants us to come into their Zoom or the face-to-face class to present on EOPS, we're more than willing to do that. I have the pleasure to introduce the next person is Audrey, and she'll be updating you guys on CalFresh and Pantry. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Audrey, and I'm a part of Yuba College's CalFresh outreach team. As a reminder, CalFresh is a program that helps low-income individuals and families be able to access food, especially when they're on a tight food budget. So for example, if a student is in a household of one, they're living with their roommates, they could potentially receive up to $250 a month just for groceries. So that could definitely go a long way, especially when they're worried about other stuff like buying textbooks and rent and all these other things that may come up in addition to trying to focus on their classes. So we're asking you all to help us reach more students. So one way that we're hoping to do that is to be able to provide a 5-minute presentation to your classrooms about CalFresh services. We do help students one-on-one through the application process. So if you know of any students who may be eligible for the program, please send them our way. And in addition to talking to you all about the CalFresh program, I wanted to remind you all about Dusty's Pantry. So again, Dusty's Pantry is open Tuesday to Thursday, 10 to 2 p.m. and we provide students both with daily meals and family meals. And one thing I did want to mention before heading out is that if you all feel like donating, please feel free to do so. Dusty's Pantry would definitely appreciate it, whether that's through non-perishable food items or if that's through a monthly donation or a one-time gift. The students would definitely be very grateful. Every time we have students come, they're always really happy that we're able to provide this service. And so anything that you all can do to help is definitely appreciated. So now I will pass it on to Interim Vice President of Instruction, Jeremy Brown.
Thank you, Audrey. So yes, as I transition into the interim role, we will be conducting an internal search for an interim Dean of Student Success and Institutional Effectiveness. So watch for that announcement to come out soon. I also want to highlight that we have hired a director of MESA to get that program, to continue to work with that program, to work with our faculty in the STEM areas, to work with our dean in STEM. Liliana Becerra will start on January 31st. She is actually from the area. She works right now at E-Center in the Sutter area. So looking forward to having her get started. We are still moving forward on all of our marketing efforts. There will be a postcard coming out soon about some late start enrollment options, as well as kind of just getting people up and running for future semesters. The front of that postcard you can see on the right-hand side, we're working with our contractor on making sure that we keep all of our communications and marketing materials up to date. We also have yubacollege.edu set up as a landing page. I encourage you to check that out. We've highlighted some of our special programs. We are also continuing to work on our website. So if you have questions or if you have suggestions, please reach out. That will be a process that involves a lot of individuals across the college, and your voice is much appreciated in that update. For food service, we will be working on an improvement to our current food vending options. That is not the permanent fix to not having a cafeteria that's up and running. We'll also be working with a potential vendor to take over the cafeteria, which would also provide some support for Sutter County Center so that we have food service back at that center. Commencement planning will start up soon. If you've been involved in the past, you will most likely get the invite to that first meeting, but if you have not, or if you don't get that invite, please reach out to me to make sure that you get added to that group. Program review is due January 28th. There are workshops this week. I think there was one today. There's another one coming up, but you can always reach out to Kathy Leal or Julie Colombo for support as you work on your program review. And I believe Christina Vanucci is on, and I will ask her to talk about the tutoring services.
Thank you, Jeremy. We are up and running for the spring semester. Our hours are pretty much unchanged, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 7 p.m. And then Friday, 8 to 4:30. We also are offering in-person and online tutoring in both our content as well as our reading and writing services and ESL. We are making a transition to one Zoom ID. In the past, each of our centers had their own Zoom ID, and so for the ease of our students, we are moving to one. The Zoom ID is there. We also have it on our website, and we'll work on getting it out to all of the faculty so that if you are willing, you can post it in your Canvas for us. As your classes start, we ask that you ask our students to sign up early. The sooner we can get them into tutoring,
I believe Christina froze. Okay, so I think she's got the information there. Reach out to her or to one of the centers if you have any additional questions. And we will hand it off now to Christoph.
Thanks, Jeremy. Good afternoon, everyone. I just have two quick announcements. The first is a reminder that the Academic Senate meets on Thursdays at noon, and all are welcome to attend. I also wanted to take an opportunity to encourage faculty to attend events that are held by the State Academic Senate. There are two institutes that are coming up in February. The Part-Time Faculty Institute is scheduled for February 10th through the 11th. And there's also the Accreditation Institute that's scheduled for February 24th through the 26th. And both are scheduled to be virtual events. Please let me know if you'd like to attend either of those events, and I'll help you get registered. And we do have funding in our Senate budget to send you. I believe the Part-Time Faculty Institute is free for all part-time faculty. And then with that, I'll hand it over to Vice Chancellor Sonia Lowland.
Thanks, Christoph, and Happy New Year, everyone. Just a few quick announcements. Unbelievably, about 2 years ago, a sub-working group of DCAS prepared a pretty short 2-page information tip sheet for faculty as COVID was kind of emerging. That document has been updated. It's 9 pages now, and it's chock full of lots of information. This is the table of content, and I want to thank the Academic Senate presidents and the Academic Senate leadership and all the faculty for providing input on this document. This was sent out to all faculty, administrators, and classified staff in early January, I think January 7th. Next slide, please. And it's also posted on the district web page. So if you go to the main district webpage up at the top and click on employee information, you'll find the link to this document, and the previous versions of it have been removed. So just wanted to make sure we're all aware of that document. Next slide, please. I also wanted to share some changes to the registration process that have been made in an effort to remove barriers for students. So to improve the process for students, Chancellor's Cabinet has implemented the following changes effective this semester. The district has suspended drop for non-payment, and it's effective for this spring semester. The district has also increased the amount a student can owe and still register from $20 up to $700. So basically that limit allows a student to register for about 15 units prior to being, kind of put on hold for additional registration. HER funding, this is the funding from the federal government for COVID. The HER funding that we received as an institution, so it's our institutional portion of the federal funding, is being used to write off spring balances that students owed. And most of these are small student balances from spring 2020 to spring 2021, so that student debt goes away and students can, move forward with kind of a clean slate. And I also want a huge thank you to Martine and the financial aid folks. As he indicated, they are making big efforts to reach out to students who have not completed a FAFSA. So we really want any student who's not completed a FAFSA to complete a FAFSA so they can have access to any financial aid funding that they qualify for. Next slide, please. The next thing I wanted to give a quick update on is the Degrees When Due project. You might have heard of DWD or Degrees When Due, and it's a project that the district and colleges undertook starting last summer. We actually were supposed to start this work pre-COVID, and then COVID hit. We are in the cohort 3 with Chico, Sac State, Sierra, Los Rios, and UC Davis. But what this is, it's a national initiative to increase completion and degree attainment. So the focus of this project, this work that we're doing with other colleges nationally, is to award degrees. So if a student has earned a degree but never petitioned and was awarded it, that we would reach out to them and make that award. And then also to re-engage with students who've departed but had earned a lot of units, but hadn't quite yet earned that degree. So maybe they're missing 1 or 2 classes, to reach out to those students and to encourage them to come back and get their degree. So there was some amazing work that was undertaken this fall, and I want to recognize Cassie Leal's leadership. She's just been fantastic in organizing this project. So kudos to Cassie and the whole Yuba College team. I mean, really great work by Yuba College. And so next slide lists some of the folks who've been involved, and I just want to thank everybody for their hard work. Lots of great outreach has been done, and some really amazing student stories that I'm sure Cassie will be sharing at the Professional Development Flex Workshop on the 20th. So these are the things we're focusing on in the spring. So the work continues, but we finished up the phase 1 pilot. So thank you. And I am transitioning it back to Eric Burns.
Thank you, Dr. Lawlin, and hello again, everybody. Just a real quick update on athletics. We're about halfway through the basketball season. We've had a 2-week pause in the basketball schedule due to COVID protocols. The season also was extended by a week to help accommodate makeup games. And then we will also be hosting some games on Mondays, not normally part of our schedule, to help make up some of the games that we've missed for basketball. January 24th, we will host a men's game only, not a doubleheader. And then on January 31st, we will host a women and men's doubleheader starting at 5:30. Am I frozen? Can you hear me? Okay, sorry about that. We are also hosting a couple basketball games this week, Wednesday and Friday. And then for all of our basketball games, masks are required by our guests and fans. But definitely hope to see you out at some more basketball games. The baseball, softball, track and field seasons are about to start this spring semester. Their schedules are on the athletics website, but also we have an athletics events Outlook shared calendar. If you're interested in access to the Outlook calendar of athletic events, send me an email and I'll add you to the shared calendar. It's a combined schedule of athletic events kept up to date as things change. The topic of schedules in the spring leads me to my next talking point, AP 4300. AP 4300 details the protocols and expectations of college-related field trips, excursions, and athletic events. The AP protects students and student athletes in this case from penalty for missing class time and missed assignments directly related to an athletic event. The caveat to this protection is the student must be proactive in communicating the event to the instructor ahead of time. The student athletes are told this, and the student should communicate this using the district form, which is linked in the AP. The faculty, you won't need to go get that form. The student will provide the form. It'll be partially filled out by the coach or the athletic director myself. The AP doesn't cover every situation, so I wanted to bring it up here. Specific scenario that I hope we can have mutual cooperation on. There's a baseball rule that puts teams in the situation to have to try and make up rained out games the next day. In this scenario, it would be difficult for student athletes to communicate ahead of time or an adequate amount of time ahead of the potential absence. So it is my hope that the faculty could work with the student athlete, but also feel free to communicate directly with the athletic department, myself, or even the coach if there's concerns about whether or not the student is following protocol for these missed absences. And of course, I tell the student athletes, if you have 2 absences based on athletic events, but 11 total absences, there's nothing I can do for them. They are accountable only, and I will only help them, assist them in communicating only for the athletic related events, and student athletes are overall expected to participate and attend all of their class days. So that's my update on AP 4300. Next slide, please. So just a quick plug for the Alumni and Friends event tomorrow. We have a professional development flex activity. I am presenting on how the Alumni and Friends can support you, your program or club, where to get request forms, how to submit requests, and examples of support we've provided various entities on campus in the past. So I would encourage any or all of you to join us tomorrow, January 19th at 1 p.m. The Zoom information is there on the slide, but it's also a flex activity, so you find it on the flex page. And that is my update. I will now pass along to Jason of IT. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, or happy Friday. What day is it? Yeah, my days are definitely a little booked here. Next slide, please. We've been doing a lot of work in IT prepping for COVID and tracking in the classes. We have completed the mobile app for the daily campus pass that the students will log in and be able to ask 2 series of questions and get a pass or fail, which was covered in that training this afternoon. That QR code up at the top gets you right to it. This is off of our standard campus mobile app. What that does, when the students ask, did they have they been exposed, or do they have any of these symptoms? It gives them the green or red, and then it flows into the self-service roster. Next slide, please. And what this will show is as the faculty see the class come in, they're going to have this roster. It's going to be right there. Who is supposed to be there, who isn't. Now that information should have been conveyed to them as the student fills out that app, and or if there's cards to be handed out at that time, the faculty can hand them out. If you go to the next slide, it's just a copy of those safety status cards that'll be available. And then it's tells the students what they have to do in order to reaffirm their status to be on campus. Now, one of the things that we've been working on that a lot of people don't see because we're like scrambling at the last minute to get all the pieces out is how do we help the students who don't have access to to do a pre-screening form on the app before they get to campus. And one of the things that we're doing, if you go to the next slide, is to put in these COVID tracking print stations where the students can show up on campus. They can log in, they can fill it out, and they can print out a form. So those students who do not have a mobile phone or mobile device, they can just print one up right there. They can take those to the class and show the faculty members that they are, if the faculty member is not using the roster. Now, in addition to that, if you go to the next slide, we're also putting Chromebooks in every classroom that has face-to-face. And for Yuba and Sutter, that's 96 classrooms. So we are scrambling to try to get these devices into them prior to Monday so that the students have a way to show that they're able to be on class. And if they're struggling with technologies, there will be ways to handle that. Next slide, please. Moving on from the COVID tracking and the reporting piece, those projects have pushed everything else down because it's a lot of work. So one of the things that you may have noticed late last week was noticing that we have delayed the phone rollout to the Yuba campus. And we did that strictly because we do not have the manpower to do all the projects we have in front of us. So we refreshed a couple of labs. We were getting all the COVID tracking tools out and the reporting tools out, but the phone is delayed. We have not yet set a date for that. In talking with Sonia Horn, our registrar, she requested us to be after the second week of February. So we are going to delay it a bit in order to get everybody time to settle into the semester. The Polycom VVX250 is the phone that's going to be in the offices, in the work areas, in the classrooms. So just some of the features there. Next slide, please. Zoom rooms. We've had a massive upgrade in our Zoom room capability this last 3 weeks. We were finally able to move away from the CCC Confer main account and move into what is called a sub account of that. So we're still getting the economies of scale from the centralized purchasing, but we're no longer have to adhere to the policies and that nice little blurb that pops up says this is a CCC conferred grant funded project. We pulled that off. Other things that we're getting are the ability to brand the Zoom rooms as Yuba College. So if you look around, you will start seeing that happen. But probably more importantly, that the changes that we brought is we've moved the device controls onto the white panels of the Poly Studio 50Xs, so you can turn the displays on and off. You're no longer going to have to work with both the Polycom unit and the Extron unit. We're trying to streamline that. And additionally, by collapsing everybody into the Zoom sub account, what's going to happen is when you go into the Canvas LTI or the Canvas and you fire up a meeting from there, when you log into the meeting and join the meeting from the classroom that you're in, that device there that you're logged in with will now be the host and control that. We do recommend that faculty members utilize Canvas to set the meeting, not to use their own personal one. And the reason for that is there are more security controls laid into the Canvas instance of Zoom that allow us to track when students, who's logging in, who's not logging in, who's changing their names, who might be Zoom bombing you. We have more trackability within that. So for the faculty members online, please utilize that one. If you haven't converted your account, which I think there's only 2 left, please do so. And finally, we are looking to see if we can procure additional units so we can expand this out to other classes. Let's see, and I think after that, I'm done. I'm going to pass this over to Tawny because I don't know if we have anybody else next.
Not sure if our teammates from M&O were able to join us. I still don't see them here today. So I think we're going to skip that. And I'm just reviewing to see if we do have a new teammate in our bookstore. The bookstore hired a new manager. David is the new manager there. I did have a chance to meet with him last week, and he's really excited to get up and running. If he were here, I think he was going to share that they were going to increase their hours for this week, the sort of rush as students are trying to get their books and supplies together. And that their operating hours would expand a bit. Currently, they're on a 10 to 2 schedule, but they're going to go to 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we will look forward to introducing him to all of you at the next YuZoom. David, I don't see you here. Are you here? Nope. We will try and make sure that he can join us next time. All right, with that, we are just a few minutes shy of our typical end time. We will stay for a little while, but with the last few minutes we have here, are there any questions that did not yet get answered?
I'm seeing questions in the chat about Wi-Fi coverage.
I think Jason mentioned in the, oh, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, not a problem. I was typing out my answers, but I can answer them real quick. We know that Wi-Fi has been a problem on campus. We have been working to extend it to those areas that we can't or haven't historically gotten Wi-Fi. We will continue to do so, at least for the classrooms where we know that we can't get Wi-Fi because they're basically iron cages and no signals in. We will have the Chromebooks hardwired in for those. So that's unfortunately the best that we can do in the case that we have. And then the second question from Kiara about the booking appointment feature in Canvas. I believe there is one under that LTI, but I haven't been the one doing that implementation. So I'm going to have to take that question back and ask our enterprise software group exactly what feature is in there. But I do believe I saw that one in one of the demos.
Thank you.
And there was a question from Denise about the cutoff number for classes. There is no hard and fast rule on a cutoff number for classes. We have a number of different questions we work through. So work with your dean. Denise, I reached out. I see you already emailed me, so I will be in touch soon. But work with your dean or your director if you have low enrolled courses, and we will look at those on a case-by-case basis. There are no, like, you have to get to this number or else. We're not making those rules. So.
All right, with that, please, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. It was fantastic to see you all. And we look forward to spending the rest of the week focusing on getting ready for students to return on Monday.
Dr. Dotson?
Yes.
There was a question from Anita Wilkes about with financial aid waiver stated by Dr. Lolan, will Yuba College forgive financial aid repayments for students coming here from another school? Anita, I'm trying to understand your question, but I'm not really understand what do you mean by forgiving financial aid repayments?
So if they owe financial aid at another school, they're coming from Los Rios or another school, do we forgive that? Or is that a federal forgiveness level?
Well, I don't think that there's forgiveness when the students owe money from other schools. So what happens in these cases is that institution will report that information to the Department of Ed. And when it does, I mean, the student can come to us. This does not mean they cannot attend classes with us. The only problem is they now have a debt with the Department of Ed that they will have to repay. At this point, any overpayments or owing federal grant money back to the Department of Ed, haven't seen any forgiveness. However, the Department of Ed, they do have some type of agreements with students. Depending on how much they can pay, they may get into an agreement where the students can sign that agreement, and by signing that, now they become eligible to receive financial aid with Yuba College.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sonia, are you still on here? The district's town hall meeting for tomorrow, is that canceled?
Yeah, so Chancellor Hoopus has decided to suspend those town halls for the short term. So the one tomorrow is off. So if that should not be on your calendar, but if it is, I will double check with Kathy to make sure that gets canceled.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good start to the semester.